Hey, Willie, come here. Listen to this.
Welcome, everybody, to 3NN Podcast.
Now with more
Molecules.
My name's Nick Tesla.
I'm Brian McFadden.
And we'd like to welcome you to the official podcast of Open Minds Everywhere.
And we'd like to send a very special shout-out to Great Britain for saying, screw you, European Union, we want out.
And I'd also like to give a shout-out to the Sofa King Podcast, Sofa King Podcast. They've been following me on Instagram and checking me out on Instagram, and I'm trying to see if maybe we could do a little collaboration with them. They're kind of not popular like us. They're actually more popular than us, but I think they have I looked into it, and they have 100 listeners per episode, whereas we have our best episodes, probably not our best, but
80-something.
Our average episodes average around 50 after a week or two. So, yeah, I know, it's not, but that's YouTube. I'm talking about YouTube hits, and I looked at their YouTube hits. So, hey. We're kind of on the same page, so I want to give a shout-out to them. But, yeah, shout-out to Brexit, to Britain exiting the EU. You know, kind of validates everybody that's been saying the EU is detrimental to individual country sovereignty.
I guess there's some people that might not know that this happened, because I know your local news is still telling you about some false flag that happened in Orlando. But
well, how are they able to do it, and a country like Greece hasn't been able to do it, you know? And here's my question also, and I don't believe so, but was Iceland ever a part of the EU? And
I don't believe so.
No, okay. But is Iceland even Europe? Or is that Scandinavia? I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about.
Scandinavia is part of Europe.
I don't know, Brian. I don't know. Rendlesham Forest. Yeah, exactly. Rendlesham Forest is the UFO thing. But we're not talking about UFOs today, Brian. We're talking about dollars and common sense. That's what we're talking about, okay?
Basically, do you think Jacob de Rothschild should be allowed to have the amount of money that Jacob de Rothschild has?
Well, we are calling this the Wealth Redistribution Show, okay? And I also wanted to add I guess that's my new favorite word of the month, caveat. I wanted to add a caveat to that. Is being a millionaire a bad thing?
Not to be confused with caviar, ladies and gentlemen.
I am thinking of caviar. I don't know why.
Maybe because you have two kittens.
Yeah, but kittens have nothing to do with caviar. Caviar
like
is good,
caviar.
Man. Oh, do they? Yeah, well,
cats like fish.
Kittens should not get caviar. That's just a giant
rich cats
waste
get
of
caviar.
money.
Did you ever see old movies like rich people in Europe?
No, but I've seen Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous with Robin Leach.
Robin Leach.
With Robin Leach. This cat lives in the lap of luxury. Anyway, Brian. I thought we were going to start out with going the Bernie Sanders route and talking about wealth redistribution, but hey, It's okay. It's okay, because I don't really have much to say about Bernie Sanders other than he's kind of a socialist and believes in wealth redistribution.
I was born in the early 80s during the Cold War, and I was raised that socialism is the enemy.
See, I believe socialism is just a word. And
it is just
there's certain forms of socialism that I think could actually work better than the democratic system we have now. Maybe not better than the republic system we were meant to have.
The Star Trek method is the way to go.
The Star Trek method is the way to go, but what you have to understand is, Brian, there's a lot of beer drinking, NASCAR watching, football watching type of guys out there.
Hey, I watch football. It's the one sport I really follow.
But they have that inkling inside of you that says socialism's kind of bad. They have that inkling times 10, and they're like, fuck no, we're not going to stand for it. That leads straight to communism, and we're not going down that road.
They're right, though.
They're right, but here's
extreme case. That's the word. That's what could happen.
That is what could happen, but in the opposite extreme case, Star Trek could happen. Brian,
human
are you ready for Star Trek?
Corrupt, and yes, that's what I want. But
with high risk comes high reward, Brian. So there's a high risk.
The majority of the people are ready for it.
There's a high risk. I think high risk comes high reward.
To make that step now, we'd live in idiocracy.
Yeah, exactly. We can't make that step now. We can't even try to take that step now whatsoever, Brian. And that's kind of the sad part about it is socialism can actually. I'm not talking about socialism that leads on the road to communism. Of course, you know what the problem is when bad people and corrupt-minded people get into powers of position when there's a system like socialism in place. That's when you see socialism being abused and no longer being used to help each and every member of a society, because that's the main point of socialism. When you hear people who are purist socialists like Bernie Sanders, all they're talking about is helping everybody. We need to help each other. Okay? But, Brian, I want to kind of play devil's advocate for the millionaire who might be listening. And I'm not saying a millionaire is listening, but, hey, maybe there is.
Hey, that'd be pretty cool. Tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends. Hey, shoot us a check for $10,000. That's fucked up. That's what you would expect us to say. Make a donation.
It will not go unmentioned.
Hey, make a donation. And
we'll mention your name on every episode and make you
we'll mention whatever you want. If you're Donald Trump, we will literally be the biggest Donald Trump supporters, the Donald Trump supporting podcast.
I'm voting for Trump. If my choices are Trump and Hillary, I'm voting for Trump.
I'm not, because I don't believe in this rigged, broken system that we have,
True.
And I think the only way to move away from that system is for people to stop participating in it, not to vote for somebody who is participating in it that may actually change that system from the inside out, which that's not going to happen, because the system has been built over the past century in order not to be changed from the inside out.
Yeah.
There's no change whatsoever. The only change that's going to come is from the inside out, but it's only change that's going to make things worse and progress the problems that we have, not progress them towards a solution, progress them towards even more problems.
I have a really bad feeling it's not going to be able to get to that point.
Huh?
I think the country will be beyond pissed off by the time it gets to that point, and there'll be, dare I say, civil war or revolution type actions happening in this country that may lead to martial law.
I don't know, Brian. I don't know.
What I fear then is under martial law, the president could stay in office under the powers of emergency.
Yeah, that could happen. I've thought all along that there's still a very viable chance that for some weird reason,
Obama, if somehow Trump beats Hillary,
for some weird reason,
wait and see.
Obama's
Trump beats Hillary in November. By fucking January, we'll be in some sort of state of emergency.
I still don't think Hillary's going to get there. I think she's going to secure the I know. I think she's going to secure the Democratic nomination, but I believe between now and November, something will pop up that is basically going to disqualify her, whether technically, actually legally disqualifying her, or the people, by default, the people, it's just, unfortunately, you can't get around the ruling or whatever that just came out, or the investigation that has now decided to proceed forward before the election, because I guarantee you there are strings being pulled behind the scenes to make sure there is no investigation of Hillary Clinton, no public investigation of Hillary Clinton or knowledge of it put out there whatsoever until after November 5th. Mm-hmm. After November 5th, around the middle of November, start coming out with it. Who cares? She either won or she lost, but at least give her a chance to continue this system. You know what I'm saying? I think there's people pulling strings who don't even really want her to win. They want the system to continue in place. Yeah. And they know if Donald Trump comes in, Trump will change the system. Honestly, I believe Trump will keep the system for the most part, the way it is, because it would be too complicated, and he would realize we don't have the funds to really take this thing down the way it should be taken down and rebuild it and make America great again. We don't have the funds to do that. He's not going to be able to get a Congress to approve $5 trillion to make America great again.
My thing with Trump is he's been rich so many times in his life. Of course, he's been bankrupt like 6 times.
Not personally bankrupt, but
the idea is he's met people. He knows people. I still have that fear, and it's a very slim chance I want to give the guy the benefit of the doubt, but What if he gets in there and says, okay, it worked. Turn in your guns. You're going to the camps. Here's what we're going to do. Oh, hi, Hillary. How you doing? Let me shake your hand, give you a big hug. That went successful, didn't it, girl?
I call it now. By November of next year, within 1 year of Election Day, there will be at least one picture that surfaces of Donald Trump, or even video that surfaces of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton being buddy-buddy, chum-chum, laughing and smiling it up. Guaranteed, within a year after Election Day, there will be a video or a picture that surfaces of those two being buddy-buddy, chumming it up. And people are going to say, holy shit, Trump, was he lying to us? Like, what's going on? Does he have to, like, kind of cater to the establishment now, and she kind of is representative of the establishment even though she lost? Like, or, like, who knows? Or let's just say Hillary wins for some crazy reason, and she's seen with Donald Trump. Donald Trump's invited to the, what do you call it? The White House Correspondents' Dinner, and she decides to go down and say, hey, good election, blah, blah, blah.
You mean a picture like this one?
That's at Trump's wedding. And that's what I was talking about. People will say that Trump lied, is because Trump has said that he paid Hillary Clinton to come to that thing. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying right now, is that he says that he paid her to come to, I think he said he paid her $500,000 or some shit like that.
Damn, why would you want her there?
To come to his wedding, because she is
$500,000 to have her not there.
Because she's an important figurehead. And to him, to have that important figurehead, and you invite Hillary Clinton, who are you also inviting? You offer her $500,000. You're inviting Bill Clinton, okay? Yeah, you're inviting Hillary Clinton, the head of state or whatever, or Secretary of State at the time probably. But you're inviting Bill Clinton. God bless you. So you're inviting a former president, basically, to your wedding. $500,000, kind of cheap. If you want Melania to feel really good about that, and it's a really special day, and there's really special people there to witness that, yeah. Yeah, Hillary. Yeah, to get Bill. Sure, I might not even really like Hillary, but to get Bill, everybody loves Bill. Come on, Bill might. If I can get Bill to even play the sax or give me a toast or something like that, it'll be the best wedding ever. And I don't think he did any of that. I don't think Bill did any of that. But that was the reasoning behind it. But if all of a sudden he's buddy-buddy, he ends up winning, and he's buddy-buddy with Hillary, and all of a sudden names Hillary to one of the positions, kind of like Obama did. It's like, what's really going on behind the scenes?
Yep.
So I don't know. And there's a lot of people who believe there's a whole conspiracy.
Oh, we still don't even know who running mates are going to be yet. That's what worries me.
Well, it's getting kind of close, but let's stop talking politics. We're going to get into this.
We'll get into that next week.
Yeah, we got. But
it
even
does kind of tie in.
Even though next week is going to be, I can promise you now, and I'm not saying I want it to be this way, but I can already tell it's going to be this way, just like with so many other shows. And I'm sorry. I'm sure I'll be mentioning Vermin Supreme and Ron Paul more than once or twice. But it's
Vermin Supreme.
Next week's show is going to be dominated by Donald Trump talk.
Beef Supreme.
I already know.
Holy shit!
I want to bring you the top 10 or at least the top 5 asinine Donald Trump moments where he's just been completely and totally asinine. Come on, he's insinuated to the American people on live national TV that he has a big dick. That's something else. I'm sorry, but that's something else, and that's asinine for a presidential candidate while running for president to insinuate to the national public on national TV
I see what you're saying.
that you got a big. He's not on Howard Stern's show, like, well, I got to make this appearance, let's be a little bit risque, and it's on Howard Stern so people understand. No, he's doing it at like a debate or some shit, or like a press conference.
Vote for me.
Talking about his hands. He's talking about his hands and how his hands are pretty good size, and there's other stuff is good size too, and it's like, what? Are you serious? But he's the man's man. But hey, we'll talk about.
Or maybe he's trying to say he's got big balls and he's not afraid to use weaponry. Who knows?
Yeah, but
you never know.
To the man's man, hell yeah. To the political minded person, they're like, you can't go there. You can't say I have big balls.
I just did.
I have literal big balls, so I won't be afraid to do stuff. Like that's
blank a doodle doo.
Blank Willow. Blank.
The only thing on my mind, Gene, is pussy.
All right, so let's stop talking politics. What were we going to talk about? Wealth redistribution. Somehow I brought up to Bernie Sanders, and we went down the rabbit hole of politics. Isn't it so funny how it's so easy to slip on that banana peel into
Bernie
politics?
Sanders or Hillary Clinton.
But Bernie Sanders is one of those people who pushes for wealth redistribution.
Well, what do you think, Donald Trump? All his money. He's a rich fucking multimillionaire.
I highly he is a multimillionaire, but I highly doubt the figures or the estimates on how much he is worth. I believe he's probably worth maybe close to $500 million, which is a great chunk.
He owns a lot of property,
great chunk,
a lot of jets.
But he has everybody believing that not everybody believing, but he wants everybody to believe that he has between $5 and $10 billion, and he is a billionaire. And he's Donald Trump.
Time machine costs $50 billion.
I think he's got around $500 million, which is around what you need to run for president in this country, which is why you see him skimping on so many things, because he's not trying to be broke by the end of this if he doesn't win.
True.
You know, he gets a paycheck every year if he becomes president, which is almost equal to what the estimates say is what he does make now, which is $500,000 a year. And I believe if you're president, make 450 or 430 or something a year. 400. Okay, so 100,000 less.
Through school, that's what we were talking.
But here's the thing: so he's making 100,000 less. He's not allowed to do any business ventures while he's in as president. Okay,
so his wife runs it.
No. But that whole time he is building rapport. He is building up his image. So when he's not president anymore, fuck Clinton Foundation or doing the Trump Foundation. Trump Enterprises is going to a whole nother level, like Ozymandias in Watchmen.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
that's what I'm saying.
Thank you.
So he's going to a whole nother level, and all of a sudden he can do business, and he might have just been making $400K a year for the past 8 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you've never seen the movie Watchmen or read the graphic novel, check it out. You have to.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, for the last 8 years, he was making $400K a year. What's that? And he still has to pay for his meals and certain things. Like, that's not all comp for him. So let's just say he's bringing home $250K or $200K because he still wants to live lavishly because I'm Trump. But there's only so much lavishly that you can live while you're president. You know, there's still a lot of work to be done. But
the president doesn't have to pay for his meals.
Yes, the president does. Every meal, every dinner that the president eats, he's billed for. Isn't that funny? Yeah, and I think he's billed maybe $100 or like $50 or something. Like, it's nothing. It's not like he's being charged $1,000 a meal or something. But yeah,
I mean, you're being forced to live in this house and you have to pay for the food.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
You get to choose what you're going to eat, but
yeah, fuck that.
You have to pay the kitchen. Yeah, the White House is its own business.
I'd rather go cook it myself then.
The White House is its own business. You know, it's its own little corporation, mini corporation in itself with a cafeteria, cooks, all that good stuff, you know. There's a shitload of employees. So, Brian, what was I going to say? Okay, Trump gets out of office after 8 years. Man, I was making $400K a year for the past 8 years. That's, everybody would say, why would he do that? That's so stupid because he's not doing it for the money because he's obviously not going to make that much money.
In office,
he's got plenty of money.
He closed a lot of casinos in Atlantic City, but he still has some down there. You going to tell me if he's in office, people aren't going to be like, I'm going to Trump's casino because maybe he'll be there, you know? Maybe I'll get to meet the president.
Casinos may change their names, may not change their names. They're actually only very slightly affiliated with Donald Trump anymore, only through naming rights. That's really the only way that they're associated with Donald Trump anymore. But here's the thing. When he gets out of office, he could spend all his money, all his $500 million that he's got on running for president, okay, and try and spend it as wisely as he can so he's still got $100 million at the end, okay? It only costs him $400 million. Yay. Okay. Yeah. He can spend all of that money. Trust him, and he's even said his campaign is a self-funded campaign, even though it's not.
He's not
100% true, but it's a lot more true than people like to admit. The people that try and say it's not self-funded. Look, he's taking money from this guy. He took $1 million from this guy. His biggest donation that I've looked into is $1 million.
He's not taking large donations, and the people he's taking them from are not known lobbyists.
Yes, he's taking donations from moms and dads and
people that really want to see
people
someone who's
sending
not
them money,
part of the system get in the White House.
But here's the thing.
Which, if you grew up on Fox News and you're not fully awake to reality, I can appreciate that in a way you're making the best effort that you feel you can.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
So he's a lot better than Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders in that regard.
He is. But we're not talking about politics necessarily. We're talking about wealth redistribution. But
Make America great again.
Make America great again. And I guess we're talking about Trump conspiracies right now, really. But here's my question.
Well, he's a rich man. We're talking wealth redistribution.
Here's what I was trying to say.
He's a rich man. He's
even if this
president.
is from Donald Trump's mindset, this is why it's kind of smart to run for president. Even if you're going to spend all of your $500 million or most of your $500 million that you have banked from your life of working hard, all right, if you're going to spend all of that to become president, yeah, you might only make $400K a year, and that's kind of what you're making right now. But you can do business deals to make $1 million deals and $100 million deals, not really $100 million, but a $30 million deal here and a $25 million deal here, and he can make and build his wealth. Well, while he's president, he can't do that. So some people will be like, well, that's stupid. He's making less than he's making now and not able to do the business deals to make himself $25-30 million, right? But as soon as he gets out of office, Trump Enterprises goes to a whole nother level, and anything he sells and does is gold because he's former president.
He could get into the weapons business.
He's like Ronald Reagan.
He could put DARPA out of business.
He's like Ronald Reagan when Reagan left office.
That's what I want to see. I want to see fucking Donald Trump serve as president, come out of office, and be Bruce Wayne. Be the next... Go out at night as a caped crusader.
What I'm saying is, dude, internationally, he will be so well known and be able to do almost anything he wants as far as hotels, restaurants, resorts, all of this. He'll be able to do almost anything he wants. Where he's halfway there now, he'll get fully there by becoming president. After he's president, he'll be able to do whatever he wants, and he'll start making the billions of dollars like Mark Cuban. I guarantee he looks at Mark Cuban like, how? How do you do that? How do you make billions of dollars? And he's like, I've tried a sports franchise. Like, it wasn't really my forte. Nobody really remembers that. What's his name owned a what was it?
I have no idea.
The WFL, the World Football League. Trump owned the New Jersey team.
World Football
it was back in, I think, the late 70s or early 80s. Or no, it was mid 80s. The World Football League was around for, I think, 2 or 3 years. Or United Football League. It was either WFL or the UFL. But they had a New Jersey team.
Weird Ultimate Fighting League.
I'm pretty sure Joe Montana or Steve Young, one of them, played for it. I think it was Joe Montana played for a team in there. In the UFL or WFL. But basically, Trump owned a New Jersey team. So he's looking at Mark Cuban like, I've tried to own a sports franchise. That didn't really work for me. But, like, how do you really do it? Or he's looking at, like, Richard Branson. Like, how do these guys do it? Like, I don't get it. And he doesn't understand that it's really, like, hard work, putting your nose to the ground, self-made creativity, you know what I'm saying? Whereas Trump has the old mindset
we live in the Philadelphia area. One thing I
cheat and screw people over. That's Trump.
I listen to sports radio a lot in the work truck.
Mm-hmm.
I hear Jeffrey Lurie getting interviewed. He's the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Do you think he's richer than Trump, Jeffrey Lurie?
I don't think he's richer than Trump.
I think he is.
I don't. Because think about it. It takes a lot of money to own a football team. Upkeep the stadium. You know, everything that goes on in that stadium.
What do you think the profit is each year for an NFL team?
Depends on whether that team's doing well or not that year.
No, it doesn't.
No, you can't tell me.
Slightly, but not really. Majority of profits are shared in the NFL.
True.
It's almost all profits that are made by each and every team are shared by. No, it's because of the NFL, and this is a show that we have to do within the next 5 shows because it's something I've always thought about, especially since we started doing this show. I've always thought about it and always thought, how do we do a sports show without talking about sports and our likes and dislikes of sports? Because I want to talk about the real truth behind sports and that it's all fucking rigged. Pardon my language, but it's all
I told you, ladies and gentlemen, back in February, I told you they rigged it so Peyton could win the Super Bowl, get a second ring. I told you the Panthers got screwed. Y'all told me I was a pissed off fan. Screw you.
Rigged.
It is rigged.
It is fucking rigged. And that's the thing is the NFL is the WWE. Think of the NFL as WWF.
Everyone after this year's Super Bowl said I was biased because I'm a Panthers fan. I'll put that out there. I am a Panthers fan, but I was saying halfway through that game on Twitter This is possibly the most blatantly rigged football game I have ever seen in my life.
And you weren't the only one, Brian.
And you know what? I would have been saying that if it was a team I friggin' hate as a Panthers. If the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were getting screwed by the Broncos that badly.
Yep.
I would have said the same thing. This is the most blatantly rigged, blatantly boring Super Bowl of all time. This is ridiculous. This is outright BS.
And there's not many. I wish I could say there's many, but there's maybe like 5 to 10 videos.
The catch that wasn't
online.
a catch that was a catch.
Well, and here's the thing: anybody who's ever watched football every Sunday, religiously watched their team every Sunday,
but the Super Bowl, that's the
5-10 seasons straight.
You would expect the referees to get it right, not reverse blatantly bad calls.
Well, yeah, if you believe
calls.
It's all legit.
Everyone watching the video at home can see, like, yeah, that was a catch. Like,
if you believe it's all legit,
game, that would have been ruled a catch.
If you believe it's all legit, yes, Brian, yes. But what I'm saying is, you watch there's 5 to 10 videos of evidence.
I've watched a few of them.
Not people talking about it.
The San Francisco 49ers game. Watch that one.
No,
watch
Brian,
the Baltimore Ravens video.
Brian, the problem with this is these people making these videos are individual fans who have.
No, these are people that don't cheer for the particular teams in the videos. They're just trying to expose the NFL as being crooked.
See, I don't see that only because I'm saying they are exposing the NFL for being crooked, but I see like a bias on choosing particular games where it was blatantly obvious that something was exactly, and those videos are good to see when it's been blatantly obvious, right? But I believe in almost every single game, if you know what they do, if you know how the refs are placing the ball, if you know how the refs are calling holdings and offside, a holding can be called on every single down.
Oh, yeah.
Every single down in the NFL, a holding can be called. Okay? Because
how good are you at hiding it from the ref at that point?
No. It's how good of a ref are you to call it to manipulate the game in the direction that the NFL would like to manipulate that game.
Because, of course, you can't have Peyton Manning retire with less Super Bowl rings than Eli Manning.
I think
everyone knew
99% of the players are not involved. I think 99% of the players are not involved.
Yeah, no, I'm saying I'm sure Peyton Manning believes that he led his team to a great victory over this tough defense from the other conference. No, dude, you were given that ring just so you wouldn't look like shit compared to your shitty brother who's supposed to be worse than you.
Well, what I'm saying is, the players are not involved, Brian.
Exactly.
But they know. That's what you're sitting here saying. Well, Peyton Manning really thought that No. Peyton Manning knows that it was rigged in his favor.
They can't prove it, is what I think. I think they don't fully know.
If you tried to prove it, Brian, you wouldn't have a job in the NFL for the rest of your life.
They suspect, but they don't even look into it, and they don't talk about it.
It's the unspoken rule, Brian. You don't talk about
blind eye.
It's the unspoken rule, Brian.
It doesn't exist.
You don't talk about it. You don't talk about it whatsoever, and I think that's how you can see like teams like the Patriots being able to cheat over and over and over again, because they're aware of this rigging, and because of them being given so many championships. If you think about when they played the Eagles, it was like
a judge overturned Tom Brady's suspension.
That's what I'm saying. The outside of the NFL, it has to be ruled on, because if the NFL tries to rule on it,
they can't come out and say, okay.
But the NFL in other court cases it's been determined that the NFL is just entertainment, and that it is not an actual competitive sport.
They file their taxes under entertainment, just like the WWE.
Exactly. And they want to steer things in a certain direction. They want to see certain teams get to the big game, certain plot lines that they think are good for ratings and good for what do you call advertising dollars, and good to boost advertising dollars. Yeah, let's do it. Why not? This isn't your grandfather's NFL.
Shitload of money in commercials and advertising.
I think when the NFL and AFL merged, I believe that at that time there was, and I believe the NFL was already slightly rigged before that. There was something that they were experimenting with, like as far as like, okay, well, we can create these penalties and kind of leave it up to the referees to arbitrarily decide when they do and don't see these penalties, or when they want to call a penalty and not, when they feel like when the crowd seems like they're getting on them because they're not being fair, this, that. But we can always have meetings with these refs every week and let them know what the agenda for the league is and kind of where we want to steer the league. And you don't tell a player like, "Hey, you're supposed to fall down now." Has nothing to do with players. It's completely on the refs and the NFL and the officiating. That's completely where it's at.
Comes down to, since we're talking about wealth overall, Vegas, the Vegas odds makers. Because I guarantee you, in the 2003
season... Damn you,
season,
Brian.
Now, this is me coming at you as a Panthers fan.
Damn you, Brian.
I guarantee you, the 2003 season, Carolina was not even expected to make the playoffs. When we made it to the Super Bowl, how badly do you think we screwed Vegas just on the spread by having that game tied at 29 with 40 seconds left? We were supposed to get blown out like we did this year by the Broncos. The Patriots with Tom Brady were supposed to just smoke us.
Or were they? They were the favorites, right? So
they were, I think, a 2-possession favorite. Like
anybody that bet favorite for the Panthers made out well, right?
Well, no, because we lost 32-29. If you bet against the spread, you made out well, but if you bet on the game, you lost.
You're right, and that's what I was going to say. That's what I was saying, damn you, Brian, is basically the origins of the NFL.
What happened in that game was we were losing the entire game. We took the lead in the fourth quarter, 22-21, and then they scored, we scored, tied at 29 with like 40-something seconds left, and our kicker kicked the ball out of bounds, gave it to Brady at the 40 with 3 timeouts.
Okay.
And they drove down and kicked a field goal.
The origins of the NFL, Brian, the origins of the owners of NFL teams, okay, are tied to gambling and bookkeeping through and through. And that's why I said, damn it, because I wanted to save that for the episode to kind of like boggle people's minds, like, oh shit, this goes back a long time, you know what I'm saying? That's why I said the AFL NFL merger, because I think the NFL was kind of created almost to be a more entertaining version of football and to gain views and to fill the seats, fill the stadium, so it's more of an ambient atmosphere, but also so they make more money.
You know, then
raise ticket prices.
Well, we're talking about wealth redistribution. One thing I got to point out is wasted wealth. Remember when Vince McMahon did the XFL just because he could?
I don't think he did it just because he could. I think he did it because he saw the entertainment value in the NFL.
Yeah, but you weren't going to compete with the National Football League at that point. You just wasted all that money. And people could argue you're recirculating the wealth, but no, you're not, because it's going to a few select entities.
At that time, Vince McMahon thought he could do nothing wrong. He bought WCW and it went off without a hitch.
I guarantee you right now he thinks he can do nothing wrong.
He bought WCW and it went off without a hitch.
He has no real competition. TNA's out of business.
There was zero boycotting of WWF when he bought WCW. Zero boycotting. Everybody just said, fuck, if I want to watch wrestling,
because at that point, WCW had been putting out a stale product for years and was losing so much money by continuing.
They had, but think about it from Vince McMahon's perspective.
Because think how much they're paying people like Hulk Hogan and Dallas Page at that point.
Think about it from Vince McMahon's perspective. He just battled with the WCW and ended up winning and buying out the WCW. True. They ended up putting a shit product on while he was putting on a good product. But when it started... When it started, who really had the better product? When the Monday Night Wars started, who really had the better product?
When the Monday Night Wars started, honestly, I'd say Vince McMahon over Eric Bischoff and Ted Turner.
I would say overall, I would believe...
because at that time, I believe
in character development.
WCW was still that old school NWA of... If you jump off the top rope, you're disqualified.
It was, but the WCW...
People didn't want to see that anymore because ECW existed.
But WCW innovated in a lot of different ways. WCW, what do you call it? They brought a lot of different types of matches, a lot of different...
So did Vince McMahon. He stole a lot of ECW ideas.
Was it called Cruiserweight? I think it was called Cruiserweight.
Where he stole the Mexican luchadors from ECW.
Who?
Bischoff and Ted Turner. Threw a shitload of money at them and said, hey, come work for us.
Well, they made it work. They made it work on the national stage. And what did Vince McMahon do? Takahito Iguchi or whatever his name was. That was the biggest. That was the biggest joke I ever saw of the lightweight division or whatever. And the only time it got good is when the old WCW cruiserweight guys came into the WWF.
They called it the light heavyweight division.
Yeah, it was a joke, dude. It was a complete and total joke. And that's what I'm saying is. But think about it. Back to what we were saying about the XFL.
Because that's how WCW survived, because they were putting on a stale product They were just they just started taking the best wrestlers that lesser organizations
Here you go. The WWF started up, I believe, in the late 70s, early 80s, right?
Might have been earlier, but somewhere around there.
WCW.
Vince McMahon inherited the WWF from his father, which was regional, and wanted to make it a national product.
WCW had been around for 50 years before that as the NWA.
The NWA
and
was
Jim
a
Crockett
separate
Productions.
entity.
It was a separate entity, but then merged with Jim Crockett Productions.
They merged a little, but then
Jim Crockett's
there's
wrestling.
people that I was watching this stuff because I just got some new ECW DVDs from RF Video.
Uh-huh.
Technically, the WCW dragged the NWA name into the dirt in the 90s when the WCW sucked in the early 90s, pre-NWO. That's why they kept stealing the WWF's talent, like Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Lex Luger, Ric Flair, all these people that were on Vince McMahon's payroll that jumped ship.
Brian.
At the time were the names. They were the big names of the time.
I should have known better than to start getting into wrestling or bringing up wrestling.
Because when you get into wrestling and the way people were being bought and traded, that's redistribution of wealth, but it's just among the wrestling entities, mainly Vince McMahon, Eric Bischoff, Ted Turner. And in the 90s, you could argue Paul Heyman to an extent.
Yes, but what I'm saying is...
paid by Vince McMahon. And that's how our government works,
literally,
ladies and gentlemen.
Every single person, I can guarantee you, and I hate making a guarantee like this because I'm probably wrong, but every single person listening to this right now has no idea of all the names you just rambled off. They have no
Ted
idea.
Turner? You
they
know who Ted Turner is. Don't
but
be watching
Eric
our
Bischoff,
show. You gotta
Paul Heyman, all these people, they're like... What? Who the fuck is he talking about? Back to what we were originally saying, okay?
Rich motherfuckers.
Is the XFL, okay? The reason that Vince McMahon started the XFL to compete, and then we got to get off sports altogether and wrap it up on wealth redistribution. But, the XFL, I think his mindset on the XFL was, I just bought the WCW. I'm getting ready to buy the WCW. I can't remember the exact timeline, but it was right around that time. Right around that time, okay?
The XFL, let me think. The Baltimore Ravens came into the NFL. They won the Super Bowl in 2000, so it had to be very late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay, so, and he bought, what do you call it, in 2000, right?
Because a lot of, that was, 2000 was the expansion year when the extra teams came in.
But did he buy WCW in 2000?
No, he bought it after. Well after ECW was out of business.
Then it must have been 2002.
ECW's
it was before I even.
Show was January 2001.
That
was a pay-per-view.
It was before I graduated school. I graduated in 2003. So, no, Brian, it's not something.
Cool. Just continue
we
on.
Need to know. What I'm saying is, when he started the XFL, if he hadn't done it already, he's already in the mindset or the process of, I'm going to fucking buy the WCW. They're starting to flounder, and I can buy them, right? So he's like, this company that I was competing with my wrestling organization, I'm getting to the point where I'm beating them so bad.
Ooh, this was close.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They were very close to each other.
No, I mean, date-wise, I'm trying to get an exact date, but this is close.
Oh, my God. Cortana, I don't need to ask you anything. All right, look. It was right around the same time.
I don't have an exact date. WCW was bought in 2001, so he bought WCW right after he bought ECW.
Okay, so in his mindset, he's thinking to himself, I'm going to buy WCW. Shit, I win the wars. I win this battle, okay? In his mind, he's thinking, if I can start a rival football league that rivals the NFL but is a little bit more entertaining and has a little bit more shock value to it and is more focused on entertaining people than being strict to the sport.
The XFL was announced in 1999 and had its first and only season in 2001. Same year that he bought both wrestling promotions.
That backs up exactly what I'm saying.
He killed his competition the same year he created the football.
That's exactly what I'm saying is he created this football league. He created the XFL.
He created it, then bought out his competition in the wrestling world, and then had his only season with the football league.
But in his mind, what his mindset for doing the XFL was if he can create a competing league with the NFL, maybe 10, 15, 20 years down the line, maybe sooner if he's lucky, but maybe 10, 15, 20 years down the line, which would be right around now, his league will be more entertaining or at least more watchable than the NFL.
Shout out to Rod Smart.
He can maybe either merge his league with the NFL or he can buy out the NFL. Yes, that long-standing NFL, he can buy it out and basically get all of the players, the best players from the NFL, and bring them into his league and incorporate NFL rules into it a little bit to try and make everybody happy.
I think that's what happened. I think he created the XFL thinking that exact thought, and then after the fact he realized, oh, wait, they have 32 different owners that are all millionaires. I can't compete with these salaries. Fuck me. What did I get myself into?
I think from the outside looking in, he understood just how we can understand, and we can see this when we're talking about it being rigged, that the NFL is literally, especially when you see the profit sharing and all that, is like a...
But there's a legacy that goes along with that where people will... I mean, these teams go way back. You have Dallas Cowboys fans from the beginning. These
teams go way back.
Eagles fans from the beginning. Vince McMahon starting out with a brand new product. You're not going to have those devoted fans that are going to be betting on these teams with their mortgage on these teams.
That's what I was trying to say is he thought he was on top of the world at the time. I'm getting ready to buy WCW and shut that shit down. So I want a new battle.
I don't think he knew in '99 he was.
He thought if he could keep it,
he probably knew he was going to get ECW within a few years. I don't think he realized WCW.
Maybe he wanted another battle because he felt like he was winning in '99 with the Attitude Era and all that, and Stone Cold Steve Austin and DX. He thought, I'm going to win this thing. Ted Turner, he's floundering. Eric Bischoff, he's not that great. They're going to lose Bischoff.
Ted Turner owns the Atlanta Braves, so maybe
he said, I'm going to get...
Yeah, you want to get into you know what? I got into wrestling and you decided to copy me and get into wrestling and compete. Well, you own the Atlanta Braves. I'm going to own an entire fucking football league.
Exactly, dude. That's what I'm saying is he thought he could do anything. He thought he could get away with anything. So all he needed to do was create the XFL and have it sustain itself. It doesn't have to be popular. Just have to sustain itself.
Now, how much money was lost in that could have gone to kind of leveling the playing field between the rich and the poor in this country?
I don't know. I don't think that would be the biggest atrocity when it comes to a waste of money.
No, I realize that. But
that's a waste of money. Just as professional athletes' contracts are mostly a waste of money.
Oh yeah, look at Sam Bradford, Philadelphia Eagles quarterback, who's not even good, making $22 million this year.
Here's my question: why can't the cap on all professional sports salaries be like $3-5 million?
Here, you know what?
That.
I'll say this. Okay, we know the system.
Let them live well, but why do they need hundreds of millions?
Even if you know they're puppets or you don't believe they're puppets or whatever you believe, how can you have an NFL quarterback who's not even a good NFL quarterback making $22 million in 1 year when the president of your fucking country makes $400,000?
Yeah.
And you wonder why the system's corrupt.
Yeah. You're 100% right, Brian. And a lot of people would say, do you know that the NFL doesn't even have to really pay taxes?
No, it's a charity organization. Figure that one out.
Well, they've been given an exemption because
501c3 organizations they own in conjunction with their filing as an entertainment business.
Exactly, but they're also viewed as being a vital importance to the nation's economy.
The public.
Of vital importance to the nation's economy because there's so many businesses that make money from Sunday football. You know what I'm saying?
Advertising.
And so much shit, not just advertising, so many bars, like little towns, the bars fill up and
you pay whatever
people are ordering food and this and that.
To advertise a 30-second advertisement during the Super Bowl.
Oh, I didn't say that didn't matter.
You telling me that's
I'm saying not just
blow
that.
your company up overnight?
I'm saying not just that. I'm talking about even little mom and pop shops, even towns like this, where if there was no football, if football was taken off the air, like what would for the whole football season, what would those people do?
I don't want football
in their
off
town?
The air, ladies and gentlemen. I want basketball and tennis off the air because they bore me. And the Golf Channel, that needs to go.
I want it all off the air, man. I want anything.
I want my football and my wrestling.
I don't want it off the air. I want us, like how wrestling was forced to kind of make it known that it's just entertainment, world wrestling entertainment.
That, right?
I want all of the major sports to let people know that there is a partial aspect to it that is directed behind the scenes for you because this is entertainment and we want to give you the best product. And yes, it would deter a lot of people away from it. Yes, it would make a lot of players retire and say, you know what, I don't want to be a part of a scam league
I knew this year, like when we were going, what was it, 15-1, I'm like, no, I don't buy this. No, come on, man, really? And then that Falcons game where we shit on them 2 weeks ago, and then they, whatever it is, 30-3. Like, no. But yeah. I'm still sitting there like, we can win this Super Bowl. We can win. It's like split duality. Like, I'm there like, I know this is rigged. I'm watching a rigged game, but there's still time. We can come back and win it. We can beat the refs.
Like, yeah, maybe you could. Maybe you can beat the refs, but I don't know, man. I don't know. When it gets to that level, it's really hard to know.
It was so blatant.
I just think
during the game, Twitter was blowing up. It was hashtag Super Bowl, hashtag Broncos defense, hashtag number 3 was 3 was something unrelated. 4 was hashtag most rigged game ever.
Yeah.
So it's like people knew watching that game.
No, but that's a whole nother aspect to that, Brian. That's why we have to do a whole nother episode on it, so we can touch on all 4 of the sports, all 4 of the major sports. Is
4, 5, 4? Is it 4?
I would just say 4.
Basketball, hockey, baseball, football. But then you get into.
Today's episode of 3NN has been brought to you by the NFL. You think it's rigged, but you keep on watching. We're not talking about any extra sports other than the 4 major ones.
The core ones. Rugby's trying to come back in America.
I'm talking about the 4 major professional sports that draw viewers in the United States.
I watch the NFL. Occasionally I'll watch a hockey or baseball game.
Here's the issue, Brian, is even somebody like you, Brian, okay? And this is where, I
love my wrestling. I'll give you that. ECW.
Okay, but your wrestling, you know to an extent that your wrestling is scripted. Okay, you know that
most of it is scripted
to an extent, but
that's why I like ECW. They try to make it look real, give you the most for your buck, and they admit when they fuck up.
Okay, yes, but what I'm saying about ECW is, especially more ECW, much more than any other wrestling organization, is. Like, dudes will put themselves on the line where it's like you'll be questioning to yourself, like, wow, is this even, could this be real? Like, this guy,
when I first saw
this guy's putting his whole body on the line, and, there's blood and there's fire, and it's like, this could be real, you know what I'm saying?
When I was a kid, we had this, my parents had this insurance agent, or whatever he was. He was a part-time referee for the NWA in the 90s. Mm-hmm. And he's telling us about, I'm going to be at this bingo hall in South Philly, NWA Eastern Championship Wrestling. It's one of their first shows. We go to that show, and it turned out to be the night that it was Terry Funk defending the Eastern Championship Wrestling heavyweight title against Sabu and Shane Douglas, the 3-way dance that went to an hour time limit. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching it like, dude, he really hit him with that chair. He didn't stomp his foot and pull it.
Exactly
he dented that chair. As a kid at that age in 1993, 11, 12 years old, I kind of had that thought, I don't know if this is real or not, but it looks a hell of a lot more real than Vince or Ted's putting out.
But here's the thing is... You maybe a little more than other people.
The ticket is a fucking fraction of the price.
A little more than other people.
And I even understood that at that age.
When you watch wrestling... what I'm saying is a little more than other people, you do take away from it, you do have a little bit more of a emotional investment to it, okay? But most people, when they watch wrestling, if they were to watch wrestling, if the guy that they wanted to win loses the match and gets his ass kicked, they don't walk away from it yo, what the fuck, man? They're like, what the fuck? That ref fucking screwed him over, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? They're like, well, it's fucking wrestling. I guess that's kind of the in the soap opera, in the giant scope of the soap opera, that's what was supposed to happen. You know what I'm saying?
In this day and age that still believe it's 100%.
Oh, I know, and they're always.
And what I do is I blow their minds. They watch a John Cena Brock Lesnar match, and I'm like, dude, Lesnar really messed Cena up, man. I'm like, yo, come watch this. I show them Sandman Sabu Stairway to Hell match, or the Hardcore Homecoming with Shane Douglas, Terry Funk, Sabu, and the no rope barbed wire.
Like I said, Brian, nobody knows any of these names you're saying.
I show them this shit where these people are using barbed wire and broken glass and Singapore canes, and they're like, dude, this is so violent, I can't watch this.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? You'd rather watch these dudes put on a ballet in the middle of a ring with ropes on it and talk for 2 hours and wrestle for 40 minutes?
What I'm saying, and exactly like you were saying, there's still people that believe
and
it's
pay
real.
Twice the price?
Is the NFL's kind of the exact same thing, but you suspend that belief. You and so many other people, you'll watch a game, see that that it's basically rigged and that your team's being screwed over, or maybe the other team's being screwed over and your team's getting all the breaks today.
It happens so rarely.
No, but it happens every single game.
The thing, they don't. It's not obvious every single. There's games where it looks straight up down the middle.
No,
but that's Super Bowl.
Never once watched an NFL game.
When you get into playoff
games,
and especially
that's
Super
where
Bowl
it's much more obvious.
It's blatantly obvious,
but
more and more each year.
I think it's obvious with every single football game you watch.
No, there's
games
obvious. Where there's not a single penalty
with where they're placing the ball. There's almost never a game with no penalties. Almost never, you know. Sometimes there's a game where a team will have no penalties and the other team got 5 or 10. You know what I'm saying?
What do you make of games that end in a tie?
You still have the aspect of the players. You still have the aspect, and that's how it's very much like wrestling. But in wrestling, the players, or the wrestlers, I guess you could say, know what the ending is going to be, and they all discuss that, and they're under an understanding, let's make this as entertaining. Football players don't discuss the ending, exactly. So they're still trying to go out and win.
I mean, do you think 2 years ago, the Seattle Seahawks and the Patriots all sat down and said, all right, here's what we're going to do, man. 2nd and goal, I'm going to throw it instead of run it, and you're going to intercept me, and that's going to win you the game.
But like I was saying, Brian, the players know. The players know that it's rigged and know that the league and the referees have an agenda and have a team that they want to win. Sometimes the players have a pretty obvious idea of who they know that the officials and the league wants to win. But sometimes they don't have as clear of an idea of that. But they know that it's going to be rigged. I'm not talking about the Super Bowl. I'm talking about every single game. The players know that the league has an agenda, whether it's going to affect them drastically in this game or barely at all. They know that there's some sort of agenda that they can't talk about.
Like your Paul Lorries and your
Jeffrey Lorries, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Jeffrey Lorries and Jerry Jones. I believe they're in on it. I believe it's like they go to a board meeting
or you think they don't. You think they're sitting there like, man, I really need.
They're part of the NFL organization.
The way they watch the game, the looks on their face is like, dude, they're playing like shit. I'm going to lose money.
They get paid whether they do or whether they don't. They have to fall in line to what the NFL says. You know, they have to fall in line. The Browns, for some reason, the Browns have been told over the past 20 years, you are going to suck. You have to fall in line, and you have to understand that. Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm sorry, but you are going to suck.
I thought
there's
that
other
was going
teams.
to be us.
And
after that little run in the early 2000s, we started looking like trash. I'm like, no. I don't want to go through 20 years of hell, 80 years of hell.
You guys will be in the Super Bowl probably once every 10 to 15 years because it works in the Carolinas area. I guess is good for merchandising or some shit.
There's
I don't know.
Of college football.
Maybe there's a lot of Panthers fans like you all around the country that buy a lot of Panthers gear, and every few years they got to reinvigorate you Panthers fans and give you a fucking championship.
I was starting to lose faith for a while. I stopped watching.
I see it with Ben Simmons and the Sixers right now.
I started watching.
Ben Simmons is being pushed as the next LeBron, and I guarantee in 5 years the Sixers will be in the finals. Whether they win it or not, within 5 years the Sixers will be in the finals.
That's why part of me really thought,
because that's a rigged sport too, and they want to see Ben Simmons be the next LeBron.
I was going into the Super Bowl like I know everyone knows Peyton Manning's going to win this game because you can't have him retire with less rings than Eli Manning. But think how Vegas would. If maybe the Panthers will win this. Maybe that's the plan.
That's what people like to go to. People like to think about it as, well, it's really all comes back to Vegas. It all comes back to Vegas. If they're rigging it, they're doing that for Vegas.
Think how much they would make knowing the Broncos had the best defense in the league. They have Peyton Manning as their quarterback, and he's going to retire, and they're probably going to win.
How easy would it be? And you're talking about these owners saying, well, I don't want to. I'll lose money. Well, if these owners are clued in
John
as
Elway's the owner. He don't need any more money.
What I'm saying is if these owners are clued in as to the direction the league wants things to go and the direction that the league wants this game to turn out, whether whether or not they want this team, your team, to win or lose. Well, shit, if they want your team to lose, well, at least you know they want your team to lose. And if you go and bet, there's a higher chance. It's not guaranteed, but there's a higher chance that you're going to win that bet. And you don't have to bet yourself. You have subsidiaries. You have people underneath you that bet that have no legal connection to you or paperwork trail connection to you, and you have those people bet. They get 10% of your winnings. All of a sudden, you've won all this money on your team losing. You're talking about, I don't want my team to lose. They get paid. There's profit sharing, so all 32 teams share all the profits and get an equal amount. And if they lose, whether they win or lose, they can bet on the game and have a much higher chance than the average person to.
I think that's actually
win.
illegal for them to bet on a game they're playing in.
It's illegal for the owner, but what did I just say?
No, for the players, I mean.
I'm not talking about the players betting.
No.
The players don't know. The players, and that's what I'm saying is the players may have an inkling that the owners are in on it, but they're not going to sit there and accuse the owner because the owner's going to kick them off the team and call out all the other teams. Exactly. They're not going to do anything about it because they're in this entertainment thing. Like if all of a sudden you stumbled across Vince McMahon one day and he said, you know what? I like you. I want you to be my next world champion. 2 months from now, you're my world champion. What are you going to say? Well, you know what? No, because I know it's all fake, and I don't want to.
No,
you want to go be in wrestling, and you got the opportunity to be the world champion, and it's like, you know what? Yeah, it might be kind of fake, it might be kind of a joke, but
I know I'm going to get beat up, my body's going to get hurt.
But you know what?
That's
a million times better than selling drugs on the street, ain't it?
And the
That's
WWE
a million
champion,
times better. I'll take that. So it's like these guys are like, I got a good job with a good organization.
If you're WWE
that's got a great retirement
you're on TV,
package.
You're getting endorsements. You're making a fortune.
That's what I'm saying is, dude.
Even if you have the belt for a month, which nowadays that's about the average title reign in the WWE is about a month.
Yeah.
Shout out to my boy Rob Van Dam, ECW TV champion for over 23 months.
Yeah.
Never lost it, forfeited it.
I don't care.
Legit tore his ACL.
I got to remember not to bring up wrestling with you. You just go on and on it. You're like me rambling on like a million other topics.
One of the DVDs I got was Rob Van Dam's entire 23-month TV title reign, match by match, the entire 23 months.
Oh, B-Rye. So I don't know. Let's bring it back around to wealth redistribution. One thing I wanted to say, Brian. I guess it'll seem like off topic, but it definitely has completely to do with what we're talking about.
Well, everything was pretty much off topic, but had to do with what we were talking about, so it fits.
When you're raised in a middle class family, let's just say a lower middle class family, and you're raised under this assumption, and I'm not saying you're directly told, even though many times people are directly told, but you're raised under this assumption that money is the root of all evil. And that money, people with a lot of money are bad people, are mean-spirited people, do mean things, are all about just making more money and almost like wanting to steal money legally if they can from other people, even if they can't, still trying to do it illegally and covering it up. Like, you find out that all these people with money are bad people. But is that mindset a bad mindset to pass on to your children? Does that mindset lead?
Depends on the age of your children.
Well, here's my question.
Fully understand it.
Well, even if your child is old enough to fully understand, let's just say, what's that age, 12, 13?
I wouldn't present it in a you have no hopes type of way. I'd present it as, look, you just need to be vigilant, be aware of what you're getting into at all times, because this could affect you, it could not affect you if you just make the right choices in life.
But what if you're not, I'm not talking about what you teach your child, what you sit down your child and say, hey, listen, this is what's going on, and this is like this is how the world works. No. I'm saying when you have this mindset that money is the root of all evil, and I'm talking from personal experience, okay, is when you have this mindset of money is the root of all evil, which I believe my parents did for a long time and still somewhat do, which we all kind of do. If you're a morally just person, you kind of have that idea.
My parents' mindset is we need more money.
Okay.
They still know stuff, so it's like...
Well, yeah, of course. It was always, we need more money, but it was also, we need more money to survive.
Exactly.
But we don't want millions of dollars because millions of dollars leads to bad things, and money is the root of all evil. And people who want millions of dollars are the reason why the world has evil people and mean people and murderers and rapists and people like all of the world's ills come from people who are greedy and desiring
Zionists.
money. That's all I could think of, right? So when you grow up in that environment and you hear sometimes, I'm not saying directly said to you, but you hear like your parents talking about bills or money, and for one of them jokes like, "Oh, well, money's the root of all evil," or "Money makes the world go round," or you know what I'm saying? Like you hear these phrases, even though "money makes the world go round" isn't the best example of something saying that money's evil, but
no, it really isn't.
you hear that money, you get this vibe that money is kind of evil, okay? And as you grow to be a teenager, you understand, well, I got to get a job and I do need money to live, but you don't think about it as money is this great thing.
Generally, when you're a teenager, you're thinking, I need more money, more money, more money, more money, more money.
You are, but if you're raised with that mentality, with that vibe going on around you, that money is the root of all evil, you get just enough. Especially when you're a teenager and you're coming out of like getting $20 or $10 a week for allowance, and all of a sudden you get your first job and you make $200 a week, and you're like, or $150 a week even, you're like, woo, I'm on top of the world.
Right.
This is great. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you're able to save money, like because you don't know how to even spend money yet. You don't know what to waste it on. You just usually save it up for a few weeks, and then you're like, I got too much. I need to go out and like go on a little shopping spree or get myself some toys or some video games or something. You know what I'm saying? Some new shoes. I don't know.
Let me think. In the 90s, when I was a kid, when I had my first job, I guess was 99 into 2000. It was probably
For me-
ECW VHS tapes, no bullshit.
For me, it was weed and alcohol.
Oh, I was going to the ECW
I was a
arena still.
partying motherfucker.
Well,
I partied my ass off. And clothes and
They
food
went out of
and shit.
business in January 01. This was around 99, 2000.
Yeah.
The product wasn't as good as it used to be because it was more mainstream now. I was spending literally nearly every penny I earned on either concert tickets of bands I wanted to see or ECW VHS tapes for live video.
Yep. And wasn't it nice to be able to do that?
It really was.
And feel like you
have
had
a
that
car.
freedom.
It felt like that $200 a week went a lot further than my paycheck nowadays.
Yeah, doesn't it? And it really shows you how much mom and dad fucking covering the rent and your food like really helped things. But
Mom cooked dinner every night.
What I'm saying, Brian, is when you're raised with that mindset, okay? If you're raised with that mindset, the money is the root of all evil. Can you go into your young adult and then even your adult and late adult life believing that, almost having that be a mental block for you as far as having the ambition to make a lot of money and to really live a comfortable life? Because see, for me, there was never any talk of, well, you want to be able to live a comfortable life. You want to be able to make enough money to live a comfortable life. It was always, money's the root of all evil. And that would be the explanation for why we don't have a lot of money is, money's evil.
No, my parents would always talk about saving money, which is something I've never done to this day.
No. My parents didn't talk about that. My mom started talking about
that.
Which
I really should.
As I got into my teenage years, my mom started talking about that.
Doing it.
But it was always, money's the root of all evil. And I realized that my mom, especially, she struggled really bad, and my dad, we just got by. You know what I'm saying? We just got by at food, and I got kind of cheap clothes, but we just got by.
And they'd get a car,
exactly, a new car every 10, 15 years or something.
Yeah, it wasn't like every 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. So, but there was never.
But even at a young age, I realized, wait. Why did we move from here to here? This place is small.
Yeah. Well, see, that's also the thing is living comfortably and living I don't want to say lavishly, but living on $100,000 a year. Growing up, I had the mentality. I was basically taught the mentality that somebody who makes $100,000 a year, they're kind of like an evil person. They're not an evil person, but they're a bad person. You know what I'm saying? They've done something bad to get that.
$22 million in a year to do next to nothing.
Well, you learn to make that. You learn to do that, but then as you become older, as you become 25 years old, you're looking at jobs that are $10 an hour, $9 or $10 an hour, and you're looking at them as viable jobs and looking at them as, well, you know what, that's cool, and I can get by, and you know what I'm saying, that's all I need to get by. But you're almost living on the what do you call it? living on the bottom of the barrel. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing:
bottom of the barrel of society.
You get kids that see these football stars making fortunes, and they see movies like Invincible with Vince Papale, which I recently rewatched. That's why I think of it, because Vince Papale is one of my customers at Natural Lawn of America.
Yeah.
And like every time I go to his house, I think of that movie, and I'm like, how many people see that and think it would just be so easy to walk onto an NFL team and make millions of dollars?
I think a lot of people believe that they could and that it would be real easy. I think a lot of people believe that that's impossible for them or for anybody else.
Because it's a true story. It is a true Philadelphia story of a bartender. But then again, teams don't really hold open tryouts.
Teams don't hold
first year thing.
But
I mean,
arena football teams hold open tryouts.
True,
and you could get your foot in the door that way.
True,
just a lot of people don't believe it's possible.
In arena
and
football.
You're going exactly the same. What do you call it? You're on the exact
Kurt
same
Warner
track.
started in arena football 10, 12 years later. He's fucking playing in the Super Bowl against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean,
pretty sure Kurt Warner was a grocery store clerk or a grocery store stockroom guy before he even started playing arena football. I'm pretty sure he wasn't playing football whatsoever before he started playing arena football. So it's possible to do that.
He's played in Super Bowls.
But here's the thing is...
Well, wait, what am I saying? Against the Steelers 10 years before that, he played against the Patriots. Tom Brady's first Super Bowl win.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he didn't win it, but he was a Super Bowl quarterback. I think, didn't they win the year before that or 2 years before that, the Rams?
Kurt Warner won in 99.
Yeah, he won a Super Bowl.
They won in 99.
Just not with the Giants. It was with the Rams.
Yeah, but...
Which nowadays it would be the opposite.
So many people have that mindset, and that's what I'm fascinated by myself, is how a super athlete is created. How somebody like LeBron James or Michael Jordan or a Steph Curry or something like that is created.
Montana, Dan Marino.
Some of these people. I'm thinking of more current of how because back in the day, I think it was easier for that's even still
Tom Brady, even to a lesser extent, Cam Newton.
That's much closer. That's not a lesser extent. That's a greater extent for me because I'm talking about more recently where I think maybe
Tom Brady's recent.
20, 30 years ago. But what I'm saying is...
He won last year.
Tom Brady, listen to me, Brian. Tom Brady was 8 years old probably 35 years ago, okay? Cam Newton was 8 years old probably about 12 years ago. Big, huge fucking difference, Brian. That's what I'm talking about.
Cam Newton's in his fourth season, going into his fifth now.
Okay, 15 years ago. But what I'm talking about is literally 30 years ago.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Because we didn't have all the technology distractions and video games and TV and all this, it was much easier to cultivate.
Bradford even. He's about the same age as Cam Newton. Close to it.
I think he's probably in between.
2 or 3 years older than Cam Newton.
Okay.
He doesn't have that many more years.
Well, even that. He's actually a good example of somebody who it was probably done to and never really panned out to be what he was supposed to be.
Number 1 draft pick.
What I'm saying is, Brian, 35 years ago, you could cultivate a superstar athlete much easier than you can today. How do these people cultivate superstar athletes in this environment, in the society that we have created today, in this distraction-filled society that we have created today? How do we still have super athletes that are created? How do people train these athletes and get it through their head? Is it really just that person, or does it have to be a combination of that person and the person training them to really get it through their head that you have to be different than everybody else, that you have to take it to a whole nother level?
This is not, I guess... It's not. I'm not trying to dodge the question, but the best answer I got is it depends on that player.
Yeah, it comes down to the person.
Some of them might not need that extra coaching from the outside, but some of them might.
But here's also my problem with that. I think that's actually much more of a rarity because you'll see places in Florida where they pump out
Panthers running back.
You'll see places in Florida where they pump out fucking athletes.
Oh, yeah.
Places in Florida, like high schools, where...
High schools and colleges.
10 or 15.
You see, at every NFL draft, it's the same... Maybe not the exact same, but generally the same colleges in the first round that are producing.
But a lot of those colleges can be attributed to the recruiting. That can be attributed to the recruiting. There's people from all over the country.
USC.
I'm talking about how one high school can take, and I'm sure there are kids or parents who move their kids there so that they can go to that good high school and have a chance at making it to the big time, right? But how does that one high school in one area produce so many athletes that come out of it. It's got to be something about the training
the only
that's
reason
in
I
that
can answer that
high school.
Is I liked the movie Friday Night Lights with Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah.
And that got me watching the TV show.
But where they take it serious.
Now, that show got a little stupid after about the middle of the second season, so I stopped
I don't know
watching
why
it.
you would ever watch that show anyway, but
the first season was pretty good. It was similar to the movie, just different characters.
Mm.
But what I take from it is there's areas of this country where we say it's boring here at times. There's areas of the country... There's areas of this country where there's literally nothing for these people to do.
Yeah.
It is so fucking boring. The only thing they have to look forward to is Saturday night.
Saturday night at the drive-in.
School has a football game going on.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
support those kids.
Yep.
And that's literally their entertainment. And that, I think, in those areas, it's just those kids know that it's like, oh, this is all we have around here is our football. So let's be the best football players we can.
I think it comes down to...
They're not thinking about money at that point.
I think it comes down to training. I really think it
Parents
comes
might
down
be,
to
but
training.
The kids aren't.
You know, and that's why you end up having coaches that are so good. You know, like I hate to brag about my own lineage or anything,
Belichick.
but I'm talking about even locally or on a smaller scale, on a smaller level.
Hey,
You'll have coaches that win Brooklawn.
New England.
Brooklawn. If you probably have never even heard of Brooklawn, have you?
Yeah, it's a town in New Jersey.
Okay, but have you heard of Brooklawn, the baseball team? Brooklawn. No, Brooklawn, the baseball team, goes to the Baseball World Series. I can't remember what they call it.
Well, the Riverside Bulldogs cheerleaders won five or 6 years ago.
Oh my God, Brian! The Brooklawn team,
every day on the way to
the
work.
Brooklawn team, and this is really where this all began for me, Brian. My fascination with it and how you can almost breed perfection when it comes to sports. Okay, the Brooklawn team goes to, I believe it is the American Legion baseball World Series every single year. They're in the American Legion World Series, which is all the best teams from the nation. It's like a tournament where the best two teams in the nation face off in the World Series, kind of like World Series in baseball and regular baseball, right? These guys are in it every year. My dad, I used to play baseball for my dad. My dad's a baseball coach, and when I was like 14 or 15, I played for his team for like a half a year, right? Actually, I think it was a whole year. But we went to Brooklawn. I remember my dad telling me, yeah, wait till you see Brooklawn. Yeah, these guys are something else. These guys they're good, man. They go to the World Series every year. I'm like, yeah, get out of here. They can't be that good, all right? I'm playing with these guys, throwing 50 miles an hour to each other. It's like, yeah, 50 miles an hour to each other when you're throwing that around the bases. Looks pretty.
You're a little kid, yeah.
I'm 14, 15. I'm not a little kid, but it's still like, wow, it's kind of fast. Like, damn, I got to learn how to throw that fast if I'm going to be on this team. I throw like a little pussy or like a little pansy. My shit's got an arch to it. None of these guys have an arch because they're throwing it that fast, right? Get to Brooklawn. These dudes are throwing the ball at what seems like 100 miles an hour back and forth on the bases. Really, they're only throwing the ball 70 miles an hour back and forth to each other.
All I played was local PAL baseball, Police Athletic League, for a few years.
Yeah,
and
you never saw anything like this.
I never saw anything like that.
Brian, you never saw anything like this. This team was like, no, by like the fifth inning, every single game we played with them, 10-run rule. 10-run rule, and there was
we had that.
seven inning games, and if by the fifth inning 10 runs were scored on you and you were 10 runs behind, you could choose to forfeit the rest of the game if you want.
Yeah.
The team that's losing can choose to forfeit the rest of the game if you want to stop the bleeding. Every single game with Brooklawn that we played, 10-run rule. They would destroy. We would get no runs. Their pitching was like, it seemed like major league pitching. But what I realized, what I took away from that for years, for at least a year or two afterwards, I couldn't understand why they were so good and we were just like mediocre. My dad's a good coach.
Pro player.
No, it's the regiment that coach had put forward for them. His training regiment, something about it had an air of professionality to it, where these guys, when they're dealing with this coach, they're like, I'm going to be in the Major League I'm going to be in Major League Baseball one day. This is my life, and I'm going to play better than anybody else in this state. You know what I'm saying? And that somehow he instituted that mindset on them, and that makes me curious. Is like,
well, that's your job as a coach.
That's your job.
He's good. at least doing what he's being paid to do.
That's your job, but on a local level, Brian, you find local baseball coaches for American Legion teams and even for football teams and this and that. They don't take it serious.
There's towns in Texas where the high school football coach will be fired if they lose the first game of the season.
That's what I'm saying, is they take it serious there, and maybe that's why the kids take it serious, but...
Oh, yeah, because you're being treated like a pro at that point if you're in that school.
And it would be much more accepted.
Because that school is expected to produce a winning team. That's what the locals are used to seeing, you know?
That's what the locals are used to seeing, but what started that trend, you know? It wasn't just some of the players saying, you know what, this year we're going to be really good. We're going to really put our best foot forward.
Or was it?
Because Brian, do you know how much I've been on teams
let's say
where the
you live
guys
in one of these towns where you know it's a good town when you move there. It could be a town like this, how it is right now, you know? But then severe depression, you know, major company in town closes, whatever. Your parents get laid off. It's like, man, they're depressed. But you know what? Maybe, you know, they're my parents. Maybe if we win next Saturday night's game, that'll make their
Brian,
spirits a bit.
that doesn't explain Florida at all, because nobody's fucking depressed in Florida. It's sunshine, palm trees, and beautifulness all the time.
Because they're all on coke.
Nah, Brian, come on. No, there's something about it. I think, and this is really all I've been alluding to, this past 20 minutes that we've been going through this, all I've been alluding to is it comes down to a figure, and I know you hate me talking about him, it comes down to a figure like Tony Robbins, is having somebody like Tony Robbins where you don't just talk about, we need to be better, we need to be good, I want you guys to put your best foot forward. You're not talking about that with your players. Of course you aren't talking about that with your players. No. What?
Friday Night Lights again. The movie. I'll go with the movie. Because it was a good movie.
It's just a movie, though.
But what was it Billy Bob Thornton kept telling the team?
I've never seen the movie, and I don't have interest in it,
really?
But go ahead.
It's actually a really good movie. He's telling them all movie long, can you be perfect? This week you need to be perfect. I want you to be perfect. Then they get in the state championship game, and they're against this team, I guess similar to like what Brooklyn would have been in baseball. This other high school team that's just playing at like an NFL level and just beating the shit out of them, literally. Like they're bleeding, they're bruised. Yes. Halftime, he's telling them, all season I told you to be perfect. You know what that means? Doesn't mean going out there and putting up 50 points. It means being able to look at the guy next to you and saying, I did the best I could for you and the rest of my teammates, or something like that.
Yeah, but I think the one thing is,
when you hear something like that, I think that gives you more drive at times. I don't know what it is, if it's a spiritual thing or what it is.
It is a spiritual thing.
I think that drives you more than hearing, hey, you're going to get $12 million after this game. You'll get 14 if you win.
Yeah, I don't think any coach is really using that as a kind of a motivator for his team. But I don't know. It's something about, yes, you have to have a certain presence or a certain. I guess it's almost spiritual, because you can, like, anybody can go and I'm sure there are coaches out there that try and push their team to be perfect and really demand that their team is perfect, and that team ends up 7-5 for the year.
You're hiring a coach. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for that 16-0 Bill Belichick.
I think there's many more places that are looking for a coach that will, one, make sure that the players are not going to be abused or going to.
Well, you want to make sure you have a good team so people pay. You want asses in seats to make a profit.
When you're a high school football team, no.
Oh, okay.
That's all I'm talking about. That's what we're talking about is local high school football teams and like that.
I thought we jumped to another level.
Because that's where it is all cultivated and all begins. These kids that are going to what do you call it? Going to big schools and then ending up going into the NFL.
I honestly think a lot of them are really in it for the game until they get there and get those first few NFL paychecks, and then it's like, damn, this is more money than I ever knew existed, and I can make more if I do better? Yo!
But to get to that point, Brian, and I really wish I would have at some point known a professional athlete. The only closest thing to a professional athlete
I know Vince Papale.
I ever knew.
Kind of. I've met him a few times.
I've met Vince Papale too. But he's. I mean, like if I've known somebody personally, the only person I actually kind of personally knew, and I'd only met a couple times when I talked to.
I mean, nowadays,
I'm talking about
becoming more of an.
I'm talking about a precise thing. That's why I'm saying the dude I knew was a skater, like a skateboard skater, and he was somewhat famous, Ricky Oyola, and he's not probably famous anymore.
I have
I'm pretty
people
sure he
on
makes
my
boards
Xbox
now.
friends list that have won major gaming tournaments.
But gaming tournaments, that's a completely different thing, because you know what? Their parents are not raising them like, all right, well, you know what? One day I need you to be perfect at playing this video game, because one day you're going to be in a Call of Duty tournament and this and that.
You'd be surprised. You watch some of these Call of Duty and Halo kids and hear their stories. They start out and their parents are just like your typical parents, like, really? A video game? Really? And then they see how good their kids are, and they see them go to these tournaments and bring in home paychecks for second and third place, and they get real supportive. And from then on, there's a lot of them that tell that story, that from then on, their parents are behind them 110%, because they see that, okay, you know what? My kid is good enough to make money at this. He ain't just bullshitting me having fun with his friends. He's really... Damn, he brought home wow, his team won $1 million in the world championship.
If you cultivate your child from 2 or 3 years old to play video games and really be perfect at playing those video games, I'm sure by the time that kid's 10 or 12 years old, that kid's going to be really good at least 1 or 2 different video games. He's going to be fucking badass at that game. He's going to be one of the better kids of his age in the world at that game, because he's been playing it for the past 10 years of his life, and his parents cultivated perfection out of him for it. What I'm talking about, like, in my mind, that's a completely different thing, only because that would be, I believe, 90%, maybe 85% of kids you tried that on, if you push them to be perfect over and over again, they would eventually end up being perfect at that video game after 10 years' time and being cultivated and raised into it.
When it's no longer relevant and being...
Well, like, a video game is fun for... No, what I'm saying, a video game is fun for a kid. For a 3-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old. It's fun for them to sit there and play it and try and be perfect at it.
What you're saying right now...
A sport is a completely different thing. A kid wants to stop.
That's the thing with esports. It's becoming more and more respectable worldwide. The payments are getting more and more...
But there's no physicalness.
But here's
the
thing.
There's no real physical
it's all mental. It's mainly mental.
There's zero physical
talent. But here's
talent.
the thing. You got guys that competed back in Halo 2 in like 1997 that are now coming back in Halo 5, and that I was thinking that exact same thing, like, is this really as fun for Victory X as it was way back in the 90s, like in Halo 2, when he was really... he got into Halo because he enjoyed playing it? Is he playing it now because he enjoys competing, or is he just trying to make more money, or where's he at right now?
Yeah,
like that. I kind of wonder, like, what do those guys coming back now think, like, at that age when they're in their 20s and 30s?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it is a different level of perfection, but I guess it's more of a level of mental perfection. It's like me when I play Grand Theft Auto. I watch other people play Grand Theft Auto, and I think they suck compared to me driving. But then I'll watch somebody on YouTube who's a million times better than me at driving. But I know I'm good at driving on Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, yeah.
But in all reality, what does that fucking mean?
Even if you're that good with, like, Halo or Call of Duty, they both work the same way. And this year they have very similar game types. Like, you can see a Strongholds game that ends 100-0. If one team is working really well together, like communicating and actually moving around the map, how they, to work together more than the other team, you see games end 100-0.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, Brian. We're
that
so
comes
far
from
off.
Practice.
Yeah, but
they're making that money now. People are starting to pay to go see it.
What I was trying to hone in on is, what is that thing that creates perfection, that creates an athlete that makes it to the NBA, and
a competitive mindset,
a LeBron James or even a Ben Simmons?
You have to personally have a competitive mindset first and foremost.
You do have to have a competitive mindset, and I think that explains somebody like Mike Trout.
I think if your goal is to make money and earn wealth, you're not going to succeed. If your goal is to, I really enjoy this and I want to be the best I can at it, and I want to see where I rank versus everyone else in the world, you're going to do far better than someone who's in it for money.
I don't think so.
Maybe not down the road, but when you first start out, you can't go into it like
just that mentality.
$1 billion.
Maybe you're talking about just video games, broken. But with
no, I'm talking about like football. You go walking down, I'm here to make $1 million. You're going to get put on your ass and you'll be out for the season.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody is ever getting into it for that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think anybody's ever trying to be perfect so that, well, maybe some people are trying to be perfect so they can make $1 million in the NFL or some shit like that. I don't know. But I don't think it's just that mentality of, well, if I try my best, like, I think there's so many people who have been, like, literally heartbroken and, like, gone into depression because they've had that mentality of, you know what, I can do that. I'm going to put my best foot forward, and they put in all this work and all this time and all this effort, and they're still not able to reach that crescendo of being good enough to ever be called a professional.
That's my fear with our buddy Rich, who couldn't be here for this episode, but he's doing Ninja Warrior next year. Now, I've watched so many episodes of Ninja Warrior where these people have trained their entire life to be on this show, and they lose it on the first or second obstacle. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there like, I really don't want that to happen to Rich. I want to see him get through this thing and win it and move on to the next one and win that and then eventually become, the world champion in Ninja
I hope
Warrior.
To help Rich with some of what I'm talking about. I'm talking about basically it's a mental thing, but not a mental thing that is only going to come from within you. And that's why I'm talking about, like, what is it that these trainers or these coaches have where they're the coach of a high school football team, and that high school football team in the past 20 years has turned out 14 NFL players. Like, wait, what the fuck is that coach instilling in those players? Because I'm sure there's a lot of those players that are coming there like, I'm going to give my best, but I'm sure there's even some players who are like, I just want to make $1 million one day. And those dudes are going through that high school system and coming out and getting recruited, highly recruited in high school. That's how you have these dudes who are just like total party animals, like Johnny Manziel, all right? Like he's a fucking total party animal because he somehow got the right training or the right coaching from somebody. And it's like, what does that training or that coaching bring?
They put all this time and effort into him, and he starts partying and thinking he's on top of the world in college. Then he gets to the NFL, and this is even when my talks with Vince Papale. The speed, like, you don't realize how fast these guys are on TV. And Vince Papale saying, you get on that field, it's an eye-opener, and you're going to get hurt first season.
Exactly.
Because here's a question I asked him, because this was all over the radio at the time, when the first time I met him, was I asked him, how are the Eagles going to do this year? He goes, I think they're going to do great. And I said, okay, starting Sam Bradford or Carson Wentz, the rookie? He goes, oh, you got to start Bradford. I'm like, really? Bradford's trash. He goes, yeah, Bradford's fucking trash, but, if you put that other kid in there now, he needs time to sit there and learn the system and adjust to the speed. You put him out there, he's going to get murdered. No matter what with this O-line, someone's going to get murdered, so why not let it be Bradford for $22 million a year and protect
that was
your
kind of the
investment
complaint
in the
about
kid.
Chip Kelly is you're throwing people out there, especially your young guys, you're throwing out there into the fire, and you're expecting them to work at like double the pace. And it's like that was the problem with Chip Kelly. It was like it's innovative, but it's dangerous for guys.
Well,
who
now
aren't used
Chip
to
Kelly
it.
has a whole new former Super Bowl team that he can butcher now over in San Fran. So.
Yeah, but he learned from us. He learned from us and can probably create a new system that's a little more not as edgy or a little more not as uncomfortable for the players.
That kills me.
A little more
See,
player
I'm
friendly.
all for, okay, people need entertainment. People enjoy football. You got to have your coaches, your players, blah, blah, blah. You got to pay them a certain amount of money to do what they do. But when I think of, is it okay to be a millionaire, I'll think of a coach like Chip Kelly and how much he's getting paid. And I'm like, dude, you are not worth a fraction of that in this league. Okay, as a college coach, maybe, but not as a professional level coach. No, this is just such a waste of money that could be spent on something so much better.
Well, what I was alluding to in the grand scope, because we got about 4 minutes left here, bro. In the grand scope of things, to kind of bring it all home, what I was kind of alluding to is a lot of people like to believe that there's this, and I know for a fact it's true. I just don't think it's as true as people think, or with as many people as people think, or the percentage-wise, whatever. Basically, there's this ideology out there in society that a millionaire who basically raises his child like a Donald Trump. Perfect example. A millionaire who raises his child and helps his child out and gives his child a little bit of a boost and kind of teaches his child the ways of being a millionaire. When that child grows up, that child, no matter what, is going to be accused of basically inheriting this fortune. You know, and what I'm saying, why it's true, is because there are many people who do inherit the fortune and are spoiled little fucking brats.
Yeah.
Okay, but there are many who are also raised, and there's by people, and I hate to bring up his name and use his name, but it's a pretty good example because that family has continued on with power and wealth. Okay,
Rothschilds?
I was going to say the Rockefellers or the DuPonts.
Ooh, yeah,
okay,
DuPonts.
they continue on with wealth, and it's by the way that they raise their children into this mentality that being a millionaire is not a bad thing. You can help a lot of people. Money is not the root of all evil. You know what I'm saying? Like money, like having a lot of money and working to get a lot of money is not a bad thing. And you shouldn't look at it as a bad thing. And you should work your tail off from the moment you can. The moment you can start doing it.
I think if you have
15,
that
16,
mentality,
17
that's
years
great.
old.
But if you're just a lazy shit who inherits a bunch of money and you just, you don't do anything productive with that money.
That's why I didn't say
you just
Rothschilds,
stay a
because I
lazy
feel like
shit
that's
and
what they
hoard your
do.
money. Exactly.
They pass down their money, They pass it down. The more kids they have, that means the more they can split up their money, and it doesn't seem like they have as much.
Right.
And they don't look as much
Yeah.
of a power.
Exactly.
Because they're a huge power, but when you really look at their money, it's like, oh, well, Meyer
de Rothschild.
De Rothschild, exactly, is only worth $400 million. How's that possible?
Oh, yeah, I know. You're thinking Meyer Amschel Rothschild.
Yes,
is his
thank
full
you.
name.
Yes, thank you. But I believe there's many people who don't pass down all of their wealth. They may help out their children or their kin with a loan to help them get started, but they don't pass down their wealth. They pass on the knowledge of how to be wealthy. Yes. And I think that knowledge needs to be spread around and not treated as taboo as it is. As if that were brought into my house when I was a child, it would be spit on and said, "What are you bringing that nonsense into this house? Nobody here wants to be rich. What's wrong with you?" And it's like, it's not about being rich. It's about having a mentality that money is not a bad thing. Yes, some people may use a lot of money for nefarious means, but having a lot of money doesn't automatically mean you're going to use it for nefarious means. Therefore, you should avoid having a lot of money.
If I had a shitload of money, I would try to be Bruce Wayne.
I'm trying to overcome that built into me. All right, Brian, we got to wrap it up. I think it's been a wonderful show. God bless you.
Thank you.
Speaking of our last show, God bless you.
Damn. Thank you.
Gazoon tight, Brian.
Oh, Donka.
All right, so let's wrap it up. You can find us on youtube.com/where we lied to. Where else, Brian?
Facebook, 3NM Podcast.
Yeah, facebook.com/3NM Podcast, facebook.com/where we lied to. You can find me on Facebook, find me on Instagram at Real Nick Tesla.
Find me on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, Brian McFadden.
Sounds good. And today's episode has been brought to you by...
Shout out to Eric M., UGN.
Oh, never mind. It's been brought to you by Eric at UGM.
It's been brought to you by Eric. Eric brought...
Let me know when this gets irritating, okay?
It's irritating almost at once.